Hey, hey, hey. You can hear me?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my mic was off. Everybody missed everything I had to say.
And we're done.
There you go. So what's going on, brother? What's happening in Mexico? What's happening in the world? There's, I don't know what's going on. I think the first place I'd like to start is what's going on the last 24, 36 hours. There seems to be huge energy coming in, an expansion of love, and many, many other things.
Yeah, there are these, there are these words being shared, just understanding, one word that's been shared a lot is the influx
Yeah.
from from a few trajectories, a few different angles coming into the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little bit well, it's very noticeable. I think in the physical, I don't think I'm not feeling anything emotional or mental. The physical's feeling it, but there's also, I was talking to Morgan after the last show, and I said it's like each show that's happening, it's more distinctive. I'm seeing the higher self and the human aspect talking to me, and it's like you got two, not a different lens, but two different eyeballs. And then that translates into, other multiple streams that seem to be coming in all at the same time. Does that resonate at all? Does that
Yeah, I
fall in
mean,
line with what you're saying?
it's like you're seeing things from both ends, both sides,
Yeah.
both ends. Like I think a couple of weeks ago, I posted something that referring to, how you can see things and everything feels clear, 5 by 5, 5 by 5. You know that expression, 5 by 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I brought an expression 10 by 10, and what I meant by 10 by 10 was seeing it from both sides, seeing it from the form and the formless side.
Yeah.
There's a feeling it um, in the physical. There's also feeling it in the formless. You're feeling it in your higher self. Your higher self is also feeling the love. Let's say,
Yeah.
you know, not just you and your heart fluttering. There's a lot of heart fluttering going
Yeah.
on. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. There absolutely is. I couldn't sleep last night. I was trying to maintain my higher self and not fall prey to my human aspect, who was fumbling and stumbling. Just try to keep my hands off Morgan while she was trying to sleep. Because the love was just so, it's just, what do you do? I told her a while ago, I said, I just feel like I want to just grab you and hug you and hold you and ravish you. And then the other side of me is just sitting here like this, shaking, like, trying to take in this energy and being balanced with it.
Right. This admitting this. Do you have permission?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Are we ready? Are we ready for this? Be you a partnership or relationships, whatever relationship.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all about the relationships.
Yeah.
Are we ready for each other? I I was talking about it a few weeks ago as kind of, okay. Well, can you really? Are you ready to handle yourself?
Yeah.
Boy, and I'm saying, like, I'm never alone. I am never alone, whether physically or non-physically. I'm just never alone. So for me, for myself, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, the lady that was on the show this morning, Rebecca Renee, she was talking about her experience, and she was saying it's like you're stoned, but you're not stoned. Everything is like really present. Time moves slow. There's these time glitches. You have forgetfulness. I mean, and then there's this ecstasy coming in, this elation and excitement. And I guess that's, that's the human aspect part of it. Is like all the other stuff is part of it, but the part we don't know or that we're creating, I guess, is this experience in the human aspects evolution.
Right, right. That brings me to, for me, that brings me to the understanding of this transition, these two operating systems.
Yeah.
This operating system. I suppose one could wrap it up and say just realities. There's a reality for the collective, and then there's a reality for the individual.
Yeah.
Like you got your own bubble, then you're part of a big bubble. Okay, yeah. So if we're talking, if we just talk human here,
yeah,
let's talk on the ground. let's get on the ground here. Let's get in the muck here,
Yeah, yeah.
And understanding ways, learning ways to get out of the muck, transcend the muck. Okay. Many people are connecting to the higher selves, or they're feeling the light, feeling the love. There's an operating system. Let's just say the Romans were very clever. Julius Caesar was very clever, because there've been many types of operating systems for society, but Julius Caesar was very clever. In order to have control over his society, he needed to divide everybody into groups. The way to do that was to create a time system, a time machine, a mechanism that can allow managing these groups individually.
Yeah.
And so this system, the Gregorian calendar, the Gregorian calendar was created out of clock towers, placing a clock tower at the center of the village.
Right.
And programming every day, every minute, every second, really, programming everyone into their duties, into alignment of the division, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your ears okay?
No, I'm here. I'm just, no, you're good. You're good. But you're like to include controlling when you wake up, when you go to sleep, when you eat, when you work, holidays, on a monthly basis, or so really controlling the frequency of what the projection is, taking that projection and creating a lesser God timeline, basically.
Let's keep it on the ground here for a second longer. Now, to take the human out of its natural state and placing the human into an artificial mechanical system. We can begin at Roman times. We can go back further, but in the modern world, this system is still being used now.
Yeah.
And we can look at certain groups like, and let's just go, the religious groups, the military arm of the religious groups, which are the Jesuits, are part of the Roman Empire.
Absolutely.
Creating the system and perpetuating the system. Now, the intelligence and the comprehension didn't come around till many generations later, obviously, 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 years later, like now, right? Waking up to this, perhaps. But you still have to deal with it in this. And so, as you're dealing with it, and let's just stay on the ground for a minute, many are dealing with it in many ways. They're connecting to their light, and they are moving into universal understandings from the collective bubble and their own sovereign bubble, reality. Each one can create their own reality. The idea is that to divide and conquer is to put everybody into a container. Well, here we go. Like yourself and like many are, the awareness has come, and you're needing to create your own reality, your own sovereign space with your own ideals. Now that is breaking out of the system. That is breaking out of the Gregorian, let's just say, the operating system.
Yeah.
And so how do we, what can we do to help those who are not able to break through and create their own? Because we do know either there's some healing going on, people need help, people still need assistance. I know there are those that can do these things for themselves, for whatever connections they have to their higher self. People like yourself, people like myself. And so part of my work is to reveal a much more open liberation and liberated and opportunity, an open and liberated, like this Lemurian calendar, light calendar, working with light time rather than trapped cyclical time, like a loop time.
Yeah.
We're saying that, of course, the Lemurian has been here for a long time. It has. But as again, the Romans, for example, created their system to divide and conquer and put everybody into that operating system, they achieved it. It was, and perhaps it was needed for a time, yeah, for whatever reason. If you want to say experience, whatever.
Yeah. It happened.
It happened.
It's a reality.
There's a way out of that system also into the light time, which is not a time loop. It still allows you to be sovereign, absolutely, and removes a lot of distortions from this collective bubble, the bubble that has been, putting everybody into a corral.
Yeah.
Right. And so changing that whole system over is really, it will feel physically, it will feel like, wow, this is heart fluttering. This is, the body is going to crack open and shake open because so much freedom is involved in the switching from an oppressive operating system to one that is all about liberation and opportunity on multiple dimensional universes.
Yeah.
Destinies coming in, bam.
And it's kind of like, these, let's just say, world figures or religious leaders or whatever. Could be a parent, could be whatever. It's like these archetypes or these energies that seemingly had power over us, we're now actually being given the power that they might have had and more. And what would we do in that situation? A lot of people talk about, like we talked about before, these military tribunals and people being brought to justice. But my question is, how are we going to respond? Are our hearts going to continue to expand? Are we going to have compassion and a higher level of understanding? Are we going to go out like posses and take these people down? I don't know. This thing is just getting wide open on a global scale, but also on an individual scales. People are parting company with relations and with friends and family and such.
Yes. So this is why I speak to this new calendar. Ancient new calendar. So there is still a framework that we can operate by on the ground here and even in the universe. There is so much support within that light calendar that you cannot see it from being inside that bubble of the Gregorian. Some are breaking out, start to feel it and starting to see some things. Yeah, good. But to bring a full change over into society, systems that are available within the Lemurian calendar has a framework that builds society. For instance, this planet can sustain 20 billion people. We've just been told it cannot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of lying going on, right?
Yeah.
Now, take a look at Agenda 21 with the UN.
Yeah.
Just these types of things where they're talking about communitarianism. Have you heard that word?
No.
Communitarianism means that they are bringing power into the regional governments in your area, and those regional governments will have the power to remove you from your land and bring you into the cities.
Yeah.
It's communitarianism. So what they're going to do, and even if there's some that will fight their way in a protest, and stay on the land, they will eventually be locked out of everything, meaning their roads will be cut off. There'll be no access to a lot of services and all these things. Of course, many are living off the grid now, but that cannot be sustainable. So there's protesting going on, and there are legislation and laws being brought into, to resisting this agenda. Because we know these are just an example. There's much more.
So they call that communitism. What about what about multi-dimensionalism?
Well, multi-dimensional and interdimensional travel is still possible. Here's the thing. Here's a twister. And I was speaking to this the other day. Going from the Gregorian calendar into the Lemurian is like going from a distorted light line to an undistorted light line.
Yeah.
What it means is that you can travel to all the universes in the Gregorian light line. You can still travel to all universes, all dimensions, all realms. That's along that Gregorian light line, right? And which you do. I mean, you do. Then there's quite another thing when you're traveling along the Lemurian light line, which has none of these distortions.
Yeah.
And it's wide open. It's wide open, but there is governance. There is not governance. Let's say a sacred universal earth alignment. There is an agreement in the light line that says we all said yes. Now we figure out what we're saying yes to and making these agreements to each other.
Yeah.
Now there are beings and councils that have been moved out of that was causing interference. The Archons, the Anunnaki, there are many to speak of. And there may be fragments of them still kind of interfering here and there on the Gregorian because they haven't been seen. They can be seen from the Lemurian because working with light time, you are seeing into the destiny. Working in the Gregorian, you are getting blocked from seeing into the destiny.
Yeah.
This is ancestral potentiality I'm talking about. It's seeing you. It's like seeing the ancestor coming and speaking to the higher self. Okay. But let us understand that in the Gregorian, you're being blocked. So you are communicating to yourself. There is so much distortion going on through there. Are so much lies. There are so much things going on in the society. That's why we talk about these two calendars switching places now.
Yeah.
So the operating system is not distorted.
So it's a higher dimensional vibrational operating system that we're familiar with before it was replaced or removed.
Before we were confused, made to not remember.
Yeah.
This is why we talk about first light, Todd. You've heard even some of my posts talk about first light. First light is going back to a moment when us, spirit, soul, everything before entering into the form first light, remember knowing that going from there, resetting your internal system from that moment and bringing it into the now. That's jumping right into the Lemurian light calendar. Now you're working by light time and not time loops, and that can take you into the destiny universes, so you can check out what your higher self is doing.
How does somebody make that conversion from the ground level? How do they do that?
I've been traveling the world, doing ceremonies, doing protocols, call it healing work if you want. I work with individuals activating an activation alignments and initiations into their light essence. So when I go into a session with somebody, we speak to this as the seal of the child, which is really the seal of the first living light child. And it's taking the person back to first light before the form. So the Akashic records are all, that the Akashic records are all replays, right? In the Gregorian, it's all replayed.
In the Gregorian calendar, the Akashic records are all replays. Explain that.
They're all replays, and it's causing a lot of problems.
Okay.
It's causing a lot of problems. So rather than go to these lifetimes, because the experiences in the lifetimes have been accumulated enough for knowledge, For myself, what I do with the seal of the child is go straight back to the light, and then we reset from there, bring it into the form in the now, and bringing first light into the essence. That's what that part of the work is. And then they, in turn, they're able to connect to their higher self, but also they get confirmation in the work that they do. For instance, many, and now there have been 1,133 who had been sealed, 1,133 in 3 years. And they are reporting their superpowers. They are reporting empowerment. They are reporting an increase in intensity and enhancement of their skills, be they Reiki, energy, healer, light grid. They are reporting an influx of knowledge coming in, huge amounts of knowledge. It's still trying to understand it and without their head falling off. So that is seeing or proof of it actually taking place now. So you just connect to it. Granted, the Lemurian calendar is not known by many, and not by all, but by those who are aware. They are remembering also. So I'm not the only one. However, I'm one of the few that are bringing it into an operating system that's available to use on a daily, weekly, monthly schedule without all the confusion of all the symbols, because the symbols can be their light language, and there's a lot of light language.
So to use somewhat of an analogy, if not a similar or same occurrence, if a person is, say, working on their own stuff, and in an effort to reprogram and expand their field, they might go back in this incarnation to a more pure time, let's just say, when there was innocence, when they were less, okay. Now, and by the same respect, you're saying that one of the steps would be to go back to this first light, and instead of reprogramming, say, the incarnation, and reprogram is probably not the right word, but instead of it just being exclusive to the incarnation, it's actually covering the entire soul journey, soul lineage. Yes,
because the knowledge wisdom has been known from the experiences of at least 4 earths, right? Those who have been through the 4 earths have gone through the 4 Lemurias. Those are the 4 earths. And so so they would have no need for regurgitating all that again. They go straight to the now, and they bring everything. Now, there are children being born now to speak to this. The light child coming in is playing Beethoven at age 3.
Yeah.
He's bringing all his wisdom and knowledge. By the time he's 9, can you imagine where he's going to be at when he's 9?
Yeah.
Now, there are other individuals, and I'll just stick with a couple of other names if I can just stay with this for a second, is that there's a young gentleman, his last name is Wilson, I forget his first name. He was 13 years old, and he became a nuclear physicist. He's one of the leading nuclear physicists in the world, and he's 20 now.
Yeah, I read something on him a couple of days ago.
Right. So it's like there's a gap closing in the generations, Todd, where the generation used to last 60 years, remember? Like I'm 56, right? So I'm not, but I remember that generation. Then it went down to what, 33 years is like the consensus? Something.
Yeah.
Well, it's now shrinking even lower, like it's coming into the double digits, the tens and 20s, like say like 21, 22. If that young nuclear physicist is 20 now, when the next child, the children coming in, obviously, from the age 1 to 7, they will be already have the level of knowledge that he has at 20 coming in at age 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And making the generations shorter and quicker. And we know this acceleration. What is that? That's the light at work. That is, part of also our work as we are bringing more light into the atmosphere, into the society, helping the children of light come in. We are allowing them to have the wisdom and knowledge, because they also still need sacredness. Because sacredness allows them to hold themselves without themselves exploding and committing suicide at young age, like many indigos did, and even some rainbows did. They took themselves out because they couldn't stand being in society, and society being the way it was. because of this operating system, the Gregorian system. Now they couldn't be individuals.
Now, is the Gregorian calendar? Oh, I'm sorry, the Lemurian calendar. If we look at the Gregorian as a program, or let's say a virtual reality inside the God self or whatever, Lemurian is a high vibrational, pure operating system, right?
Yeah.
And now are people able to elevate or align with the Lemurian calendar without knowledge of it?
Yeah, there's some remembering, because some remembering is absolute connection to your knowledge. It's like you don't have to know, you just got to remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we help each other remember the knowledge and the wisdom there. It all depends on the individual, certain levels of capacity, certain levels of expansion, certain levels of what one can withstand in the form, because a lot of energy here. There's a lot of source light energy in the Lemurian calendar. Now, there are people working with it already, but there have been people over the years, the last 100 to 200 years, that have, been sharing information about the Lemurian calendar. Let me just speak to the Maori people, my people. We call that calendar the Maori calendar, but which is really, it doesn't belong to the Maori. If you understand what Maori means, it means children of heaven. It means that Maori calendar means it's the calendar of heaven, except you wouldn't know that because of language and because of culture, because of flags. What I'm doing is removing the flags, removing not so much the culture, but bringing the language and the Lemurian into something that you can read and be with. Now, you get the feeling that you will not fall backwards. You will be falling up. Falling up. Okay, so even if you fall down in the Lemurian light line, you actually fall up, because up is down, down is up. It brings all dimensions, all interdimensional connections of omniverses and destiny universes into the now. So you're not ever falling down. Right. If you fall always up. In the other calendar, you can feel yourself falling down, and you're falling down, right?
Yeah.
Even it doesn't feel good. Not when it sucks, right? When something sucks, something feels good.
So how would you describe light time? I mean, I know it's probably not an easy thing to do, but how would you?
Well, yeah, actually, let me just bring it back to the earth.
Yeah.
Right? Where does light begin? Where does light touch down on the planet? Do you even know that?
In New Zealand.
Yeah. Now, the rotation of the planet brings the light around 24 time zones. So immediately, New Zealand is first light time. Now, I'll just hold this for a second here. Now, do you know how old New Zealand is?
I'd say 200 million. I don't know.
500 million.
500 million.
Now, if New Zealand is 500 million and that light's been touching there, first light's been hitting there, first nanosecond of light time, New Zealand has had that calendar, and we have. Now, the Maori knew about it. That Lemuria is 500 million years plus, because we still have to calculate when New Zealand and Hawaii, when there was no Hawaii, it wasn't called Hawaii. When Lemuria was first together, that's still 50 million, or maybe less, plus, still a lot, right? That's first Lemuria. Wow. Now, geographically speaking, and speaking to the light and the rotation of this planet before the wobble hit, before it went off axis, after first Lemuria went off axis, there's a really neat, kind of a neat understanding to that too, but I'll get to it. So here we go. New Zealand leaves Lemuria and goes beneath the equator. This is when that wobble hit, and then the meridian line, and then there was the polar shift, right? Then there's this axis that's off axis, but it actually works. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be here.
Right.
Now, what happened is when Lemuria-One was still here, first light was hitting that mountain of Lemuria. That's with, and we talk about the mountain being 3,300 meters tall. Some of us talk about it being 33 kilometers tall. They talk about touching the heavens standing on that mountain. These are the stories, these are the memories, right? Now, first light would touch the top of that mountain. The mountain came down, New Zealand moved to where it is now. Now first light hits New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay, so geographically, let's get that straight. London time starts 12 hours behind light time. Greenwich Village Mean Time is based upon the meridian line because why? Even if we go into the modern contemporary world of the Roman Gregorian calendar, it's because they aligned it to the Gregorian operating system.
Yeah.
They took it off 0 point axis, which is New Zealand's light time, and they faked it. And even if you go to Greenwich meridian line, you'll see it's not even on 0 point. That whole meridian line is 3 degrees off zero. We went there to do a ceremony to retrieve the 0 point and align it back to Lemurian time. Our team did that. That was just recently, last June. That was just last. We did that physically and then the formers. Now, what is light time? So bringing back the understanding geographically, and you're going to begin to learn and understand what it really is about the rest of the continents on this planet. And I'm sharing that there are 12 continents. They all have access to the Lemurian light codes and the light time and the information and knowledge. What is light time? It is access into the destiny omniverses through gates, stargates, new constellations that you cannot see in the Gregorian. And if you know, maybe you know some of the names from the Lemurian side, if you can translate your own light language, there's some work to do, right?
Wow. Some
people cannot translate their light language, they get a feeling. Some of us are here to help translate light language. It's been going on. Why? Well, because from the destiny universes, Todd, the Orion's belt is not called Orion's belt, right? It's called Tawu.
Tawu.
Tawu. We speak to Tawu. Andromeda system, we don't speak to it as Andromeda. In the Lemurian, we speak to it Medadinua Dinua Mana, which means Big Mary, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalena, Mary, you name it, Mary, all the Marys you want to. We speak to this as Medadinua Dinua Mana, Andromeda. Now, this languaging and all of that is aligned to light time, not a fake time. It's not fake time imprinted by London and by those families and the Jesuits and the Gregorians and the Vatican and the military and all of that and the Romans, of which they are. Remember, they are Romans in that they came from those families.
Yeah.
Remember that. Now, okay, so yeah, they've been feeding us our bowl of porridge for so long now, right? And we can't just live off porridge, right?
Yeah.
So this Lemurian calendar operating system and the Huna have been everybody's been very busy in their great works. I can speak to the Huna, what the Huna have been doing on the ground in the muck. And it is not just in the muck, it is really high level, right, vibration. But getting in there, and there's some resistance to us doing some of the things we're doing because many do not understand what we're doing. There's a comprehension in the knowledge and the wisdom. So just saying that I don't want to know, I don't need to know, really, come on now, have an understanding so you can come to nothing on this, so you can come to zero. You must allow yourself to have an understanding and a knowing. Is there soul in this? Of course there is. Is there light in this? Absolutely. There's destiny in it. And it's like, it's free of distortions. There's some work to do. The more you do it, the more you stay in it. The more you stay in the Lemurian light calendar into the true alignments of light time, which is the rotation of the universe, it's to say counterclockwise. Clockwise is the Gregorian. Lemurian runs counterclockwise in right relations to the universe.
Yeah.
That's number one. Like, let's get in relationships here, right? And then you start feeling and seeing all these gates, these constellations, and all right behind me. They're all there. All these names are the Destiny Universe, Destiny Stargates into constellations and the Destiny Omniverse. Right behind me here.
Yeah.
They made up the calendar. They were responsible for me being able to bring the calendar into a form that you can understand and that you're used to.
Right on. Let me ask you. Let me ask you this. With what you're saying earlier about the removal of certain energies such as archons and Anunnaki and all that, and in the same respect, some other people, and I won't name any names, that have come out with really the same type of forecast. I mean, it's been out there for a couple of years. I mean, people talking about it, but there's been people coming in with intel saying that as of this solstice, that's all gone. That the illusion, and I guess the way I would pose the question is the Lemurian calendar frequency or energy, has it now superseded the Gregorian?
We're at not quite, we're at a tipping point. You still have the families that are operating society, right? This Agenda 21 stuff.
Right.
That's run by families. Those families are Archon codes are incarnated into their spine, into their vertebrae. They were incarnated by the Archon Anunnaki. So there are generations of family lines, not all, some, that are still operating that system. So until they're fully cleared out, we talk about 11 universes of the Anunnaki and the Archon were cleared out placed into a light container. And I can share more of that later, but there is one universe left that is remaining, and that's inside part of the human character that's clinging on to the stuff that just still gripping the land.
Okay.
You know who's gripping the land. You know who's gripping onto everything and keeping everything, this percentage of the families, of the wealthy families around the world.
No, I get what you're saying, and I get it energetically. I get what you're saying. Even abiding by these holidays or the Gregorian calendar, there is an energetic constriction or an energetic control that you described so well. That goes back to Caesar. Now, if the let's just call it, if the non-physical or other dimensional ancestors, I don't know what the word would be, of that, the Anunnaki, the Archons, have been removed. What you're saying is that these families that have had the archonic implants into their spine, these families have no support in this realm now? That's kind of a question. And two, it sounds like, number two, it sounds like you're describing too, that the only strength it has is in the human character and our ability or inability to let go.
Okay, so the stubborn behavior that the human created is calling the human self a god.
Yeah.
So okay, we have very high vibrating beings, can use whatever you want, but they decided that okay, their ancestors said yes to coming into learning what love means. They had never known love. The Archons, they never knew love. Anunnaki, they never knew love. They never knew what that is. And we know in the last couple of years, all the work that's been done by some of the Trinity teams to bring the understanding of love to these universes, these 11 really high universes of the lower realms. Now, this one universe that's remaining, exactly what you're saying is that, okay, they've got it into themselves that they are gods on the ground, and they will dictate Agenda 21 and many other agendas to hold on to this operating system and continue with their interference. People say they're losing. Yeah, they are. They're not so much about losing. They are breeding out. Right? They are breeding out. They are being infiltrated by bloodlines that are breeding them out of this notion. In other words, breaking up their DNA, returning their DNA back into blueprint, first light, slowly but surely. And the Lemurian calendar will also help accelerate that.
Yeah.
Right? Because society, which is attached to the generations of these families, whoever they are, wherever they are, right? they have children that they call them bastards, right? They don't want to admit that they had a child of the royal family. He's royal, but you never know about him. This is an infiltration into the bloodlines, right? So every, so you got to give the props to the half brother and sister here, because they're introducing.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
So one of the other part of the work that we're doing is to ensure that the child comes in fully lit, which is what we refer to the seal of the living light child, which is to ensure that the operating system and the planet and all its guardianship, stars and gates, are fully aligned to the Lemurian first light, so that when the child's coming in, they're not coming through the magnetic, they're coming in through the light line and being fully nourished with first light before they come into the form. And this is some of the work we're talking about, we've been doing. So there's more to share on. But
so how can the boots on the ground, each one of us, assist in that transition, assist in that dilution of that bloodline? How can we, because we know it's not going to be through the marching and the boycotting and the protesting. How do we do that from our own space?
As we begin to let go of our need for money, money does not exist. It's only relationships. It's all relationships. By repairing our relationships with each other, including them, I'm just you got to keep. What does Facebook do? We befriend each other. We don't know each other until we get to start talking more. Then we'll show up for a ceremony. Hey, let's go and do a ceremony in Egypt. Hey, Huna Flash, Ma'uta's going to Egypt. He's going to do a ceremony. Let's go. Why is he going there? Now, what is your walk on the planet, Todd? I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this show? What is it you are doing? So I think, we kind of know that.
Yes.
We kind of know that. Yeah. And you've done well, and you've been doing well, and we are so grateful, really. There are tools and modalities on the light. So what is it? The healers are needed.
Yes.
People still need assistance, though they have empowerment, some to be able to help themselves. Can you go deep enough? There's still questions. There's still questions, and the healers are still needed. And there's many lamas will tell you that.
Yeah.
And then many Bindu masters will remind you of unconditional love.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing? Well, for myself, I could share modalities that have come through the Lemurian alignments, ancient but new to many. Once you do them, you'll remember. It's just allow you to activate. So there are these. For myself, I'm doing purification work, removing the distortions. So, I'm going to Bratislava in Slovakia, January 1st, and I'm going to be there doing the work, sharing the calendar, doing ceremonies, the Lion Queen and the Giant Kings of Lemuria, which really means bringing blueprint codes back in to the land, the water, the sky. So whoever's drinking the water, whoever's breathing the atmosphere, whoever's eating the food is getting those codes. Yes, it's in the light. I know everybody talks love and light, but I'm just saying very specifically, this is a walk that's happening.
Yeah.
So what's he doing? He's walking all over the planet. I've been doing this for 3 decades. Okay, this isn't brand new to me. I've only just started saying, okay, when you want to come, let's go as groups now.
Yeah.
So there's Bratislava. Then I'll be going to Athens to engage the oracle, the Delphi oracle in the land, water, sky. Then I'll be going to Roslin Chapel in Scotland. The same thing, bringing the codes, converging, Todd, converging the intention, converging the knowledge, converging the light calendar, converging the light line, sharing understandings of the Gregorian, squeezing it all in together until your head pops off and you go, okay, that's enough. Let me give me a break for a minute. Give me a break for a minute. Okay, take a break. I'll go home for a month and then we're going back on the road again.
When are you going to the U.S.? When are you going to the U.S.?
Yeah, boy, I mean, that might not look like the U.S. until maybe,
2021?
Around September, October, November, maybe. I was supposed to go to Hawaii, but the kahunas in Hawaii they need to reschedule. They're not ready. They're not ready for such a switch in the information as well, because they still are checking their information as being from Lemuria to just, get on the same page.
Yeah.
It takes a minute. I'm pushing it, Todd.
Yeah.
I will push it. I have a lot of fun, and it's serious joy, of course, still. But yeah, so we're realigning it a lot. So after Scotland, I go to Egypt. To the Valley of Queens and the Valley of the Kings. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be really powerful, because I'm also working with the codes of the Quran from the first edition.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
it's all coming together, isn't it?
I have to include everybody, Todd.
Yeah.
I have to convert. If you're going to converge an intention, you have to get out there and bring the relics in the stone, in the water, in the feathers, in the bird.
Yeah.
That's the sky. The feathers in the bird is the sky. Yeah. That's how I do a ceremony with the feathers. It's not just like, okay, smudging bowl. No, because in the feathers, they are relics of information from sky ceremonies, from the clouds, water. Yeah. So go at it from all angles, the best you can,
So maybe that's part of the reason that people are being pushed to get out there and travel and meet other people. It's like we talked about on some of these other shows. As empaths, a lot of people didn't want to go into crowds. They're not comfortable with people. It seems like people are being pushed to mix it up a little bit.
I often say, are you ready to sit in your seat? Because you have a destiny constellation seat that's aligned to your higher self. That is your throne. And in that throne, you are already tied to everyone. So if one sits in the throne, all sit in the throne, all sit in the seat. If all sit in the seat, you sit in the seat. Now, you have to have a knowing of that and get out there to find out, is everybody sitting in their seat? Okay, let's just go and find out. Do the protocols, the ceremonies to purify the planet, atmosphere, land, water, sky, everything. And let's find out for sure, for real, and get out of the Gregorian alignments and move to the Lemurian alignment, light code, so we can, okay, let's just do this without distortions. Now, you talk about relationships and partnerships and loves and love. Yes, we are here. I am already loved. I don't need to prove I am loved. I am already. There's no question.
Yes.
And I am unconditional. You are. Do you remember? Do you know yourself? Do you know thyself? Do you know where you sit in the universe? Your seat. It is very powerful, your seat.
Yeah.
So we go out to find out. When we have a little inkling of what we can do, we start doing the work and we're connecting. People are starting to see through their dragon eye. They started to bring energy from their hands, like directly into inanimate objects, they can see colors, they see the rays. The atmosphere is clearing. Just the more work we're doing, we have an influence. We do have an influence on the atmosphere and the operating system currently. But we can boost that. We can really kick it up a notch. And that Lemurian calendar will allow you to do that. It's a tool. It's just a tool.
I want to, somebody asked a question at the beginning of the show, and I don't want to run out of time because we only got a few minutes, but they asked, where can we find it? And I know that'd be on your site. Where can we find this information?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel that's been upgraded. So I'm popping videos, and I just did because of Huna Manima, we just popped off 21 videos in 10 days.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Huna Flash. Huna Flash.
Right.
I've been using my nickname. Huna Flash is my nickname. So okay, Huna Flash.
We can dig that. All right, let me see. I'm going to pull it up here. Let me just pull it.
There are some good information, and then there are some. There's a conference coming up in March in Japan. That'll be a major deal to come to.
In Japan.
Yeah, I'm doing Sacred Universal Alignment Conference, second annual, and it's bringing out the next edition of the calendar. So you'll get to see the components that go into building the calendar on its next level of its next edition.
So you've put out quite a bit in 3 weeks. You just opened this up, and here's one here. Benefits of the Lemurian calendar, right here. Yeah.
So yeah, they're like 5 or 6 minute videos. They're not like 30 minutes long. They're very short, and try to speak to as much as I can on those few minutes.
Right on. Let me see here. All right, there it is. Yeah, this is cool. So you just put this together.
Well, because of Huna Manima, Nico Martins, he's total expert master at this, and he's helped. We work together to script it together and get it pretty definite. We just did that in 10 days. 10 days we did that.
Yeah. And you still have the HIL Foundation?
Yeah, HLIfoundation.com. The website, Huna Manima, he built my website. And so here's a guy, let me just give him props. I want to give him the props for this next couple of seconds. He used to work for Procter & Gamble. He was one of the head IT guys for Procter & Gamble, setting up. They went to him to organize management, organize marketing, organize their website, everything.
Wow.
And so he's here. We're going to have dinner after this call. So.
Oh, yeah.
He's got five more days here, and then we'll get another 10 to 15 videos done before he leaves here. He goes back to Belgium, to the Huna house in Belgium. Wow.
So he's over there close to Amsterdam.
Well, yeah, he lives at Huna House 3 in Tongeren, Belgium. So an hour from Amsterdam. Right on. And he's here now. The ceremony is here and all the work. So we're really getting into it.
So this sounds good. This is everybody seems to be ramping up heading into 2020. What about this this eclipse on the 26th? Is that part of the Gregorian calendar? Do the stars and the planetary alignments as we know them in the cycles apply to the Gregorian?
You can speak to them in the Gregorian, but you also know when you're feeling good or feeling ugh.
Yeah.
Now we speak to that eclipse as the 13th month and the 13th sun and the 13th moon, the black sun, black moon. Mm-hmm. And as a gate, the understanding it through the Lemurian side, the ancient new gates that are connected through there are in a whole nother trajectory from what you're going to connect you in the Gregorian. See, for instance, we are already in 2020. We operate in 2020 as of June. Yeah. Next June coming, we're moving into 2021. Yeah. Because if you operate by first light, you're already operating 12 hours ahead of London. If you're operating in first light, you will operate in a 1 year cycle, you're operating 6 months ahead of London.
Yeah.
Now, that means you're operating 6 months ahead of the guys that built the imprint, that built the time trap.
Yeah.
Time loop. Now, all languaging, this is also different, right? Because you're like, okay, you're 6 months out of whack here. Come on. You want to get back into alignment? I mean, you can do whatever you want. And how much longer you're going to do whatever you want before you realize, okay, this is getting really hard.
Yeah.
Right? Flow. I mean, you can connect to your higher self. Yeah, you can in a distorted light line.
Yeah.
Okay. That's absolutely.
So, come on. Yeah. So, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is do the constellations and the planetary alignments and what we call the horoscope and these events such as eclipses and the sun coming up and the moon going down, does that correlate with the Gregorian calendar? Or in other words, should we even be paying attention to that stuff? I know you explained it a little bit with this eclipse, but
I know people like to hang on to their birth month because in the Lemurian rotation of universal right relations, December is not a 12, it's a 7. And it's aligned to the North Star. Also, it's also the gate that houses the lion and the rhinoceros. and those gates open into January, the 8th. The Lion's Gate is actually the 8th month of the Lemurian calendar, is no longer August. And if you start working with these things and begin to understand and feel into it, connect them to your healing modalities, to your hands, to your energy, your vibration, you're going to find yourself rising very quickly, like many have already. The Huna, there's again 1,133. I'm about to do the next one, 1,134 in a couple of days.
Wow.
Now, they are reporting major shifts in being able to see and connect. Now, if Gregorian feels good to you, fine, but understand this. Sagittarius, Aquarius, Libra, all of that language is Roman and Greek and Anunnaki and Archon. Yes, it was innocent at a time. It's no longer that. It's distorted. Now, there is languaging in the Lemurian, which is the light language that you can translate and understand, speak, and it carries the vibration, energy, frequency, magnetic right into linguistic construction, right? You got to get, I mean, okay, have a little taste, have a sample. I'm putting the video out there to try to have, to allow you to have a little taste, put your foot in the water, let's say.
Yeah.
I can drag you to the water, but I'm not going to try to force you to drink.
Yeah.
I don't drag anybody anywhere. Besides,
That's
I don't
right.
do that.
That's right. We all got to do it ourselves. Is there anything that you want to do before we head out? Any blessing, any light language, anything, any announcements?
Sure. I would like to broadcast the 5 root races of the first human race after light, conception, inception. Can I do that?
Yes, please.
5 root races, and I'll pull the codes of divine union, masculine and feminine, right after it.
Okay.
Do that. So I will do what is a login from first light. Then I'll speak in the name of. Then I will do the sound of the first 5 root races, and then I will do the divine union codes spoken in the vibration. You can do it telepathically too, but let's just have some fun with sound, yeah?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, brother. Thank you for this. Thank you, everybody, for following along and
thank you for the work you're doing and the whole Huna Team Foundation.
You're welcome. Much love to everybody. Okay, I can invite you all to your cosmic eye for the moment, yeah? First breath, excuse me. First light, first breath, first birth, first love, first stone, first fire, maha, kawa, tahi. Iti ingoa, in the name of, te to iri, the vibration, te au, the frequency, te wana, the energy. Why do tapu? We remember you. Iti ingoa, in the name of, te whenua, the land, te rangi, the sky, te katau, the water. Why do tapu? We remember you. Iti ingoa, in the name of, te whaia, the mother, te matua, the father, te tama, the child. Why do tapu? Yes, we remember you. e ma'il ai. U o e no to no e nu ma'il ai.
That's powerful, man. You're a beautiful brother.
So are you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
you're
you,
better.
brother.
You're better looking than me, and I like your hairdo. You got more dark hair than I do.
I don't know how I'm managing that. Apparently, we're getting younger.
I think I'm waiting for that to kick in, but I feel it coming.
Yes, yes.
I'll holler at you next month, and everybody check out the Huna Flash YouTube channel. There's 100 and something subscribers. He just opened it up. I just subscribed, and let's get over there and support our brother and what he's working on. We'll get together again next month and see what's happening, and hopefully sometime this year we'll connect in the physical. That should be pretty crazy. All right, my brother. Peace out. Thank you.
Love you all. Wahoo.